Hello and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Hannah. Unfortunately, last night I had to DNF the book I had started, so I'm actually starting this reading vlog a lot earlier than I expected, so let's get started. So this is actually going to be my first classics reading vlog. I posted a video last month about, I think it was 8 classics that I would like to read maybe this year or next year. And that first one is going to be the Picture of Dorian Gray, or in this case, the Uncensored Picture of Dorian Gray. I'm not exactly sure what the difference between the censored and uncensored version is, so I'm going to try and look that up and figure that out, as this is the copy that my library had. This was originally written by Oscar Wilde in 1890. There's quite a lengthy introduction to this, actually, and the first sentence is... the remains of Oscar Wilde lie in Père Lachaise Cemetery in Paris, which I actually had completely forgotten about, but it's a grave that I've actually personally visited. Père Lachaise is extremely beautiful, and I could literally get lost there. It is huge, and it is just one of the most amazing places I've ever been. Oscar Wilde's grave is actually way far in the back end of it, and it is completely surrounded by, I can't remember if it's plastic or glass, but it basically has see-through walls all around it, so people cannot touch it anymore. However, it doesn't have a ceiling, so unfortunately when I was there, I have seen people climb it to touch it and throw things inside it, and it's not exactly as well kept as you would expect, considering that there's literally a plaque on it saying that it's protected by the Irish government. But people are dicks and they throw trash and other stuff in there, so unfortunate bit of human nature, but it was really cool to see. It is literally a monument. So I actually don't know too much about this book. My first introduction to the character was actually through the show Penny Dreadful, as the character of Dorian Gray is in there. So pretty much whatever they showed is the only thing I know, and I don't know if that's actually accurate or not. I believe this takes place in London, and I know that someone paints his portrait, and instead of him aging, that portrait ages and turns him into some sort of immortal. I don't know the how or why behind it, so I'm pretty excited to learn about that. Oh. So I actually just looked at the back to see if there was a description or anything, and there's just kind of a little blurb on the top. However, it is kind of blocked by the library sticker. However, I can see that it says, like, this version of the novel appears here for the first time in a paperback edition. This new volume restores material, including graphic homosexual content, removed by the novel's first editor, who feared it would prove offensive to readers. Okay, I guess that answers that question. I wasn't really expecting that. So I guess we'll see exactly what that entails. There's no description other than that, so I guess I'll just get right into it. So I am absolutely terrified that my phone is gonna fall on my face. Anyway, this book, alright, oh, very shiny. So this afternoon I read about 40 pages in, which is 2 chapters. And so far the entire thing is the painter and his friend just talking about how beautiful Dorian Gray is, and the painter even admits that he, like, literally worships him, and he's just gonna kind of follow him everywhere and stuff. And it's kind of weird. It's literally obsession. And so Dorian shows up for, like, to stand for the painting and stuff. And so he meets the painter's friend, and they hit it off, and they're pretty much just constantly talking about his youth and his beauty. And apparently, no one's done that before, even though he's in his 20s. Because all of a sudden, he realizes he's like, oh shit, I am beautiful. And now all of a sudden, he's extremely vain and is like, oh my god, this portrait shows me in this moment in time, but I'm gonna grow old, I'm gonna get wrinkles, oh my god, I'm gonna lose my beauty, and it's gonna be fucking terrible. And it's just kind of like, oh shit, that just did like a complete 180, oh my god. So that's kind of been the whole thing so far, which I thought going into this, it would already be at a point where like he has the portrait, he already is like immortal or whatever, and we would be starting kind of there. However, it's the complete opposite. So it seems like this is going to be more of an origin story, which I kind of hope that's the direction it's going to go in, because that would be pretty cool. I'm not sure exactly how the magic happens, but Dorian does say, like, oh, I wish this painting would age instead of me, where I would stay like I am forever. So I don't know if just him kind of saying that makes it happen or what, but he doesn't even have like the portrait at his house so far. I just ate a cookie, so I might have some bits of that in my teeth. I'm sorry. So I am on chapter 7 of this book now. Holy misogyny. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So there are 3 main characters so far. We have Basil, which is the painter of the portrait. We obviously have Dorian Gray. And then the friend that I was talking about a little bit earlier, his name is Lord Henry. And they pretty much make a trio of really misogynist dudes. Lord Henry being the worst out of them. Basil seems to be completely in love with Dorian Gray, to be honest, and is just kind of following with whatever he's gonna do. There are definitely some moments where I just wanted to like tab, but I don't have any of those really. Just because like what this Lord Henry dude was saying, it was just like, holy shit, like, whew. Basically, he thinks that women should just be decoration, and that's about it. And for some reason, Dorian takes like everything this Lord Henry guy says as like gospel, and I really don't understand why. But ooh, 9. But Lord Henry is just completely fascinated by Dorian, and so he basically just says shit to see what happens, which something bad ends up happening, of course, and Dorian notices that his portrait looks a little bit different. And so what ends up happening is different from what I thought. I always just thought it was, oh, the painting ages instead of him. But there's a little bit more to it than that. It's actually every time he sins, the painting is altered instead of him. Like the painting is more representative of his soul than his actual physical appearance. And it's just kind of showing how his sins are affecting his soul, which I think is more interesting. I really didn't know that's more what it was. Goodness, I need to drink some water, my throat is dying. Because of this terrible event that has happened, Dorian at first is like, oh my god, I need to live a good life, I need to not sin, I need to be kind to people. And then Lord Henry comes along and is just kind of like, nah, you're young, like, be free, do whatever you want. And Dorian's just like, yeah, you know, you're right, I should do whatever I want. And so then Dorian just kind of looks at the painting, which he doesn't tell anybody about it. He is the only one that knows about it. But he looks at the painting and is just like, yeah, you're gonna take all my sins and I'm gonna be fine, so I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want, get prepared. And so I guess this is the calm before the storm kind of thing, because now I'm really expecting Dorian to just kind of go off the deep end for like debauchery and just not caring about people anymore. So I guess we'll see how that goes for him. But yeah, it's been interesting But, whew, that misogyny, oh my god. There also was another line in here that I thought was pretty hilarious and really, I could really relate to it in our modern time, even though this was written in like 1890. Here it is. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna read this out loud. "Marriage is hardly a thing that one can do now and then, Harry," said Hallward, smiling. "Except in America, but I didn't say he was married. I said he was engaged to be married. There is a great difference." I just thought that except in America. I laughed out loud at that. I thought that was funny. So today is Saturday. It was actually a pretty busy day, so I wasn't really able to start reading until the evening. I actually have only 2 chapters left to go in this, and it is so different from what I was expecting. Like, everything I've seen of Dorian Gray has been like these fancy parties and him being around for like hundreds of years at this point, and just, I don't know, him just like knowing his schemes and his craft and everything, and it's just not what this is at all. It did get a little boring. Like, there's just a whole chapter on things that he's studying. Apparently he got really into music, and then he was really into gemstones and stuff. And it was just like listing all these fancy items, and it was just like, holy shit, this is way too much. Also, this is like an uncensored version and stuff, and it talked about like homosexual content, and I thought it was going to be stuff that's like really graphic to have been like taken out of the book, and it really isn't. There's nothing really graphic about this book at all so far. It's just one guy has a crush, and it literally just mentions in one sentence that Dorian wore dress to a costume party once. Those are the only 2 things in this entire book, and there's only 2 chapters to go, so I really doubt that's gonna change much. Also, it doesn't really talk about the shenanigans that Dorian gets up to. Like, it just talks about the hobbies he picks up, and then they're like, oh, all these rumors are doing all these things in London, and it's like, okay, but what exactly is that? It's like, they're bad things. It's like, oh, okay, what bad thing? They never really say it, so it's all heavily implied. Something interesting did just happen, though, at the end of the last chapter. I'm not gonna say what that is, but I did not really see that coming until it was happening. It was another unexpected bit, but yeah, this has been interesting to read just because it's just so different from what I was expecting and what I knew Dorian Gray to be. It's so much more just simple and implied, but it is a bit dull. Like, they can go on and on and on about some subjects, and I literally found myself kind of falling asleep while reading it, and that never happens to me. So I just thought that was a little much, but let's see what the last 2 chapters have in store. Okay, I just finished this book, and 2 things. 1, fuck Dorian. 2, that was a fantastic ending. I really liked that. That was great. Like, oh, I did not know that's how this freaking thing goes at all. Huh. I'm gonna think on this book for a bit. I have no idea what I'm gonna rate it, especially with that ending. And I'll say my final thoughts tomorrow, I think, because I am so fucking tired. Ugh. Alright, so let's finish up Dorian Gray. And I am so tired of this reflective book. Today is actually the 8th. I ended up not filming yesterday. I wasn't feeling the greatest, and it just wouldn't have been good. I don't really have much to say on this. Since the beginning was more of his origin story, I enjoyed that, but the middle was just put me to sleep boring. They just go on so many rants on psychology and philosophy, and I just end up skimming, not really absorbing the words, and it's just a little too much. I did really enjoy the ending, though, so that ended up bumping my rating from a 2 to a 2.5. However, when I rated it on Goodreads, I did round down to a 2, as I really don't think this should be a 3. I am glad I read this though, as my expectations of who Dorian Gray was and this story were completely wrong in the end, so it was nice to finally know his true story, even though the book is just simply okay for me in the end. Thank you for following along with me reading this, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. That really helps me out. That's really it, and I'll see you next time.